he wasn't feeling good at all, and he ended up having to go to Dartmouth again, and they said I needed to have him go to a nursing home, and he couldn't come home again. And when they told him that he couldn't come home, and he started crying. I mean, he just broke my heart. And of course, I started crying because I couldn't take care of him anymore. I couldn't pick him up, even to clean or, do the things that I needed to do. Between, they had a kidney for him, they thought.
Yeah, and then it...
Yeah, and it didn't work because his arteries were a little too hard. They had called a vascular surgeon. So that kind of broke his heart, and I think it broke his spirit a little bit, too, because he knew this was, he didn't have that long. So this one day, he's talking to me on the phone, and he said, you know what, I want to come home. I really want to come home. And I said, do you know what that means? Now, up to that point, he had never signed a DNR. He wouldn't sign one. He wanted to be revived no matter what happened. Friday, by Saturday, and he came home Wednesday, and they already, hospice had put a bed in here. And got him all set up and everything, and he died Friday night, early Saturday morning. I crawled right into bed with him and held him for a long time. And, we always told each other how much we loved each other. We were married 31 years, and he was such a good man. I mean, he never screamed, yelled, fought. He would fix things for me. He made me feel like I was a queen. He really did. And I said, I'm really sorry, Donnie, I'm going to lose you. And he said, but it's okay. He said, it's okay, it's time. And that I'm starting to move on. And I'm actually making some connections with people, which was very hard for me to do. I mean, I did for years and years, worked as a nurse. I said, but the past couple of years, I haven't really wanted to see too many people.
So, what advice would you give someone who is going through the death of their spouse?
To crawl into bed with them and to hug them. Remind them how much fun you've had and all the love that you've shared. I mean, Donnie and I had 31 years together. He was a stepfather to my children. And to all the grandchildren, he was grandpa because they all saw him more than they saw their other grandpa. And, just to love on him, just to love on him, because I know I'm going to see him someday. And I've had a few, like spiritual things that have happened that I felt. One morning I woke up and I felt I had his arms around me.
Right.
And I went to touch him and he wasn't there. And that was recently. But to learn.
Yeah.
Learn from your spouse on the things that you both contribute to the household.
Question.
Right.
Are you afraid of dying?
No.
What do you think happens when you die?
I have such a strong belief that in the Bible it says that when your husband is not there, when you're a widow, that God will be your husband. And I said there have been times around here when things were like 15 things went wrong all at once. And I said, and I got in my living room and I put my arms around, like how you get very defensive. And I said, okay, Lord, your word says that you would be my husband. And there he was. I mean, you can't visibly see God. You can't visibly see Jesus, even though you know that the story of him. But the Holy Spirit is in all of us if we accept Christ. And I always look at God as the rushing waters like at Niagara Falls, where it's the sound of mighty thunder, and you can't hold it in your hand. You can't even go near it because you would get killed being near it. And I always think of Jesus as like a big ice cube. He's solid. He's something that you can hold on to. You can mold. You can touch. You could, and then I picture like the vapor from everything being the Holy Spirit. And I always felt comfortable with God I had an experience with Jesus that I absolutely and positively convinced that he exists, that he died on the cross for my sins. And the third thing is that I believe that the Holy Spirit indwells in all of us that allows him. And if we shut our mouth enough, when we're asked a question, he'll give us the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we mostly talk too much, so we don't hear him.